All right. Oh, welcome back to Rise from the Ashes. I am Tamarah. I've had a lot of technical difficulties tonight, so okay. Before we begin, a gentle reminder: shadow work and soul alchemy can stir up emotions, memories, sensations, things that make you feel a little uncomfortable or icky. If at any point this work feels overwhelming, confusing, or too heavy, don't go it alone. Please reach out to a licensed mental health professional. Healing is powerful, but it is not meant to be done in isolation unless that's the way that resonates with you. So remember, strength is support, and support is strength, really. Okay? So, anyways, we are ready to begin. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to Rise from the Ashes. I'm your host, Tamarah. And today we are stepping deeper into the Nigredo series. If you have not watched any of my videos, start from this beginning. Just get yourself on track and go from there because I do build on information. So we're diving into the Nigredo, into the fertile darkness where transformation begins. This is episode 4 of the Nigredo series, and it's called Understanding the Psyche. And today we're exploring the inner constellation that lives inside every single human being: the ego, the persona, the shadow, the mirror self, the power self, and the higher self. Now, these are not abstract ideas, they are living forces shaping your choices, your relationships, your reactions to things, your sense of meaning in this world. That's Cora. So let's walk through them together. First, we're going to talk about the ego. The ego is not the villain. It's often made out to be the villain, but it is a part of you, the part of you that reflects, plans, protects, and helps. It helps you navigate the world. Now, some of you, I'm sure, because I've heard this very sentence, but you have been told that the ego is bad and that it should be destroyed. But again, that's not true. Our ego is a tool, and we use it to keep our eye considered at all times. So you can see how important that is. You're meant, however, to shift into ego as a form of self preservation, so you can fit into society. As you heal, you will shift your ego into the back seat, allowing the soul to lead, and you call on it whenever it's needed. Um, think of the ego as a tool, not the driver of your life, but a trusted advisor that sits in your passenger seat, like your best friend. Okay. When healed, the ego gives you empathy, impulse control, resilience, and the ability to say, "This is who I am," without apology. And that's how it should be. Another important rule of the ego is the development of empathy and sympathy. If you can understand I, you can certainly understand you. See why it's important? A healthy ego provides a good impulse control. It provides resilience to stress and a healthy sense of self-preservation, as well as independence and self-reliance. You do not want to kill your ego. You want to just simply reassign it from leader to necessary tool to be used when called on. So how do we use our ego in daily life? Well, social media is a great example. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you use, even the tone of your emails or the emojis that you use to express yourself, they are extensions of the ego, shaping how you're seen by others. So, to integrate the ego, this is one thing that you could do. You can stop throughout your day and ask, is this my soul speaking? Or is my ego protecting something? Learn to identify when either or are your soul, let's say, or the ego, let me use the proper words, are in the driver's seat. It's important to understand, to know, to be aware. Um, You can also try active imagination, which is like a dialogue that you can have in your head with your ego to get to know it. Assign it a character. Ask it what it fears, what it's trying to protect, and what it needs to be happy. I'm sure you're like, this is silly, but I assure you, this is how you reprogram your psyche and integrate your ego. You start looking at its role very closely and considering, when do you really need it and when do you not? So you must, in order to integrate, you must give attention and thought to what you want to heal within yourself. What do you want to improve on? Understanding your psyche, particularly at this point, the ego, that's how you figure out who you are, who you authentically truly are. When you understand your mind, you can reteach yourself, you can reparent yourself, you can reprogram yourself into your authentic self. But self-awareness, that's key. Okay, so understanding the psyche is what leads you to self-awareness. So we're going to move on to the persona. Persona, it's kind of like a mask. We forge it to survive society. It's necessary, but also very dangerous because we mistake it for our true identity. Same with the ego. So when we're facing society, the persona is the mask you put on. We use it to hide ourselves, our true selves, because our true self doesn't fit in as much as we would like, right? So it is a necessary suit. We wear it for society, essentially, but it's not our authentic self, and it causes a lot of issues when we over-identify with it, believing the mask to be the totality of who we are, which can cause a loss of unauthentic, or sorry, a loss of authentic connection with our deeper psyche. So I guarantee you, you are actually aware of your persona shifts and your ego shifts, but you probably just don't put enough thought into it. So what I mean is, how you are at work is probably quite different than who you are at home. I can say that with confidence, I know. So spend time throughout your day pausing to identify these shifts. When you become aware of these shifts, you understand yourself and when to use them. And you can reflect on this awareness. How do you feel during this shift? When you move from persona to ego to yourself, how do you feel in each one of those? So in professional situations versus personal ones, we adopt different personas to suit the situation. But this can also lead to inner conflict. So again, I spoke of the over-identification with the persona. It can stunt your growth in many ways. And lack of understanding or connection can cause social isolation. When you become aware of how you behave consciously, you can put yourself in check and dismiss the behaviors that make you feel fake. So it's really cool when you really truly get to know yourself. When you've developed a healthy connection to your persona, you see it as a tool. You know it's a tool rather than your whole identity, which allows your true self to shine through more authentically. You can push your true self in at more appropriate times, and before you know it, it's spending more time on the surface than your psyche. So by doing shadow work, you consciously engage with your buried self, transforming it through alchemical practices, which weaken its hold on the inauthentic persona, leading to greater self-awareness, resilience, and a richer, more genuine life. Now, we all wear different masks. We have the professional mask, the family mask, the I'm fine mask, right? But when the mask becomes the whole identity, we lose connection with the deeper self. Okay, so Modern examples of using persona in your daily life so you can start paying attention is when you use filters, let's say, on your phone to take pictures. You don't want people to see you for who you are, so you hide it, and there are appropriate times to do that, right? Your posts, just how you put the words out there, your personal brands, that's how you want to be seen, right? These are all personas. We are deciding how we are seen by others. We all get it. But to integrate the persona, you can pay attention to it. You can identify it. You can even throw yourself into art, let's say. So you can make a symbolic piece of art that represents your persona. That would be fun. So you can draw your mask. See what it looks like. What do you imagine it? And then ask yourself, what's beneath this mask? Who am I really? Maybe you make a side-by-side collage of them. It'd be kind of neat to see. I'm not artistic enough to pull that off, but I might find some other way. How could you make a mask that's more like your true you? That would be fun to see too. Oh my goodness. Okay, so moving on. We talked about ego, we talked about the persona. Now we're going to talk about the shadow. If you've watched my other videos, you already have a good idea of it. So the shadow is everything you've hidden, your anger, your jealousy, shame, even unmet needs. But it's also your creativity, your passion, and your potential that you haven't quite fulfilled. It includes all of the traits, all of the emotions and desires that are considered unacceptable, kind of shameful, or simply not aligned with your ideal of who you want to be seen as. Now, while often this is seen as negative, the shadow self also contains your undeveloped potential. It can be integrated through shadow work, and it can lead to more complete and authentic self. So you go into the shadow and you discover who you are, and you pull it out and you hold it up and you bring it to light. So contained within the repressed shadow self are all the things that the conscious mind won't accept, including both the bad and the potentially good things, unrealized things about yourself. What are your goals? You haven't realized them yet. Could your ego or your persona or your shadow be connected to them? Or is your authentic self connected to them? So, though the shadow works unseen, it's there, kind of just collecting. It shapes your thoughts, it shapes your emotions, it shapes your actions. So, it is fueled by potent, primal urges and feelings like anger and jealousy or shame. And those are the emotions that usually take over. So we often project our shadow onto others, harshly judging them for traits we secretly desire because it's a painful reflection. I know that you are starting to become aware of when you're being projected on and when you're projecting. Because if you're doing shadow work, you're understanding not just yourself, but your others. So think about all the times you've been online and you've shamed people, or people have shamed you simply because you represented something that they probably saw within themselves that they didn't really like. And it just confused them and made them feel weird. So they figured, I'm going to lash out at this person. And whatever they do with that emotion, I mean, you guys know I'm right. But often those triggers, those moments of being upset by someone else's words, are actually projections. Think about how many times you've engaged online in a conversation. Were you arguing because you really felt truly strongly about it? Or was your ego or your persona or your shadow involved? Call yourself out. What you dislike in others is often a shadow aspect, or vice versa. But remember, the shadow isn't evil. It is simply parts of you that could never breathe. And when it's ignored, it leaks out through projection. It also leaks out in self-sabotage, compulsions, or even sudden emotional storms that kind of brew from nowhere. This is why understanding the psyche is essential. It is so essential to the healing process. You can't heal what you don't realize is there. When you understand your psyche and your projections, you can stay ahead of yourself. And that's priceless. Reflection should be ongoing, daily. Why did you react a certain way? And maybe if you gave a little bit more time to get to know somebody, you will be like, oh, I messed up. It's true, it happens, right? All right. So modern examples of shadow projection are online trolling. That's the one we can most relate to, right? We've seen it. We've probably been a part of it. Harsh judgment on others. Envy of influencers. These are actually shadow projections in real time. Be aware of yourself. When you recognize a shadow, reflect on it, acknowledge it, think in that moment, did you respond from ego, persona, or your true self? How can you be sure you are responding as often as possible through your authentic self? That means you need to actually take that pause before you do respond. Think about it. Do you really need to? Would your authentic self want to? Okay. These are things to keep in mind. So, how can you integrate the shadow? Keep a dream journal. I've talked about it in my other videos. It's so important. Your dreams are not random. Shadows often appear as figures, animals, or even landscapes in your dreams. So pay attention, okay? Your dreams are your psyche speaking in symbols. Everything's a symbol in a dream. Absolutely everything. Pay attention to your dreams. To integrate your shadow self, you must first acknowledge its presence. It's not about picking it apart, it's acknowledging it. Embrace it for what it is, but learn how to use each one of those tools. Okay? Notice the behaviors that trigger you. They often reveal your own hidden darkness. The things your family or culture forbade you might also offer insights. Um, they serve as a shadow clue. Keep that in mind. A lot of us cringe when we think about the things our family forbade us for doing most of the time. Okay, because it didn't settle well with us. It could be beliefs that just did not resonate, rules that didn't feel right. It's up to you to decide. But shifting a little bit, rather than focusing solely on the negative, acknowledge that the shadow is also a source of energy. It's a source of your creativity, and it is a source of your untapped potential. Okay, so you do not want to fear discovering your shadow, you want to. Okay, becoming aware of the shadow's influence allows you to consciously decide how you are going to respond rather than being unknowingly controlled by it. Now, there's going to be times you're going to respond because you're going to feel very passionate about what you're responding to based on your experiences. And that's okay. But how do you want to respond? What word choices do you want to put into it? How much energy do you, and anger or whatever, do you want to put into it? Make sure it's reflecting your true self and not whatever persona or ego you're trying to put out there for people. So, by understanding this process, one may discover a deeper sense of self and become more genuine. Okay, we're going to shift gears to the mirror self. Hold up that mirror. The mirror self reveals your hidden opposites, your unclaimed traits. The reflection of the self within, the mind, it is formed by your perception of how others view you or us, which shapes our identity based on the feedback that we believe we have received from somebody and how we unconsciously project our inner thoughts and emotions onto others, transforming them into reflections of our hidden struggles. Now, we construct self images from our childhood, reflecting the world back through the constantly shifting lens of social feedback. So this isn't just stuff that's recent. It's from your childhood too. It all compiles in that shadow. So the mirror offered to you reveals both the glaring conflicts of narcissism and the buried aches of your past. Okay. So to integrate a healthy mirror self and shadow work and soul alchemy requires using reflection. I talk about self reflection all the time. It's so important. It helps you to purposely face and accept and transmute your concealed, rejected parts into incorporated strengths, progressing from judgmental towards self love and to unveil your genuine whole self. So, how does this look in your daily life? So, maybe you're introverted, but you discover a powerful speaker inside you through this work. Integrating your mirror would be allowing that part of you to emerge, giving it its daily space. So, another example, maybe you're logical, but you secretly yearn to be artistic and to do something really crafty. You don't allow yourself to do that because you're so focused on the books. Give yourself the time to dabble in something that makes you feel childlike. The mirror self shows you the parts of you waiting to be reclaimed. So, one good technique that I mention in my book, hold it up here since I'm talking about it, Rise from the Ashes, which came out January 7th. It's also now an ebook as well. One good tip that I put in that book is how to identify the mirror. Now, you can list a trait you identify with, then list its opposite. Make a list. Something that you identify, and then the opposite of it, okay? Choose one trait from the opposite list and embody it, symbolically or otherwise. You can, let's say, dance it. You can write it out. You can speak it. You can create something fun. Whatever it takes to bring that trait out. Again, it's going to be the opposite trait. So it's going to be one that's a challenge for you because you probably don't give it much attention. Okay. But let that trait have some time to be expressed. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to the power self, which is the inner furnace. The power self is the blazing center of your being, the part of you that whispers, "You were made for more." You know it's true. It embodies the unconscious yearning to become more, the whisper of the person you aspire to be. It's the entire personality, conscious and unconscious, not just your current self image, it's your entirety. It acts as the hub, synthesizing the balance. Synthesizing and balancing all of the parts of you, all the parts of your personality. So, the process of individuation, my mouth has stopped working on me, is a lifelong journey to become complete. It is a lifelong journey to be unified, to have all your traits balanced. And it is driven by the desire for you to discover meaning about yourself, living a life that brings you meaning. It's not just going through the mundane milestone steps of life. It's becoming what you were always meant to become. So the power self is the encouraging voice that whispers strength, the force that restlessly pushes you and the unwavering spirit that empowers your every action. When the power self is fully integrated within a person, it radiates a transformative energy that touches not only their own life, but also the lives of everyone around them. So the process involves acknowledging your shadow, your ego, your persona, not getting rid of them, but bringing awareness to these parts of you, parts of all of us, all the parts that have been pushed down, neglected, denied, rejected. It seeks harmony between intellect, emotion, and instinct. It offers a sense of purpose, steering you toward a life of profound richness and helping you become the best version of yourself. Power self is the deep, inherent motivation within us that pushes us towards becoming complete and unified individuals, acting as the guiding star and purpose of our mental development. It is the heroic drive that pushes you towards transformation. It is the voice that says, get up, try again. You are capable of more and you know it. So, how does this look in your daily life? How can you integrate your power self into your daily life? Launch that project. Whatever you've been wanting to do, do it. Speak your truth. When a difficult moment comes up, just speak your truth. Speak your truth, the one that you denied speaking. And choose healing over a repetitive cycle. Don't stay in that toxic relationship. Don't do it. You just do deserve better. So when these moments happen and you can see proof of your integration, acknowledge that too. And stand in gratitude because that is a win. Okay? All right. So to enact your power self, you can write a manifesto. Maybe paint a flame, because I kind of think of flames when I think of power self. So you could set a symbolic challenge, something that really gets you outside the box, something that embodies strength. Put yourself outside that box. Allow yourself to embody the true essence in every single day and give your power self the space that it needs to shine. All right, so there's more. There's actually the higher self. Higher self is really fun. So it is the radiant constellation of your consciousness, the truest, most authentic part of you, your soul, basically. So it is your inner guide, which transcends the ego. It's stronger than all of those. It embodies your true potential. The inner star. Whew, okay. Inner star actualization is the transformative process that ignites empowerment. It awakens the seed of greatness and wisdom and love and power, which lie dormant within you. Through shadow work and alchemy, hidden pieces are revealed, allowing you to collect them, touch their rough surfaces, and create something radiant. To truly connect with your higher self, you must confront your fears and the traits you dislike, accepting them as your own, but learning to identify them, learning when you're using them, and learning when you don't really need to. Okay? Discover your positive, repressed potential by paying attention to what you admire in others. Think about that. When you admire something in someone else, it's something that you would really like to have within yourself. So you can develop those qualities within yourself. If you admire it, bring it into your being. Through meditation, you can observe your ego's narratives. And seeking guidance, ask those questions before you meditate. Get those answers in those symbolic dreams and make room for your higher self to emerge. The higher self is the part of you that knows. It is the part of you that whispers guidance. It is the part of you that sees beyond fear. beyond ego, beyond conditioning. Inner star actualization is the process of awakening this inner light, collecting the hidden pieces of yourself and weaving them into wholeness. So, an integration practice that you could start implementing: write a letter to your higher self, then let it respond back. Use your imagination. You can do continuous journaling, always having these conversations with yourself. Through an honest conversation, you can bring your true self back, give it back its voice. You can even use, like I said before in my other video, tarot cards to kind of guide your journaling experience. So, in reality, when you're doing this, your work, you are becoming the phoenix. Alchemy teaches that transformation is a cycle. You descend into that shadow. You rise with clarity and descend again, each time becoming more whole. So discovery is excavation, the deep dive into the unconscious to unveil concealed traits. Integration is manufacturing an act that harmonizes, yeah, inner dynamics, like the shaping of raw material into that stone. Okay. By shining light on your depths, you learn to express them healthily, cherish them, and use them as needed. Your psyche is a tool. Balance is the alchemist's steady hand, turning fragments into wholeness. You are the phoenix. You burn, you break, you rise. Not once, but over and over and over again. To alchemize the higher self is to become the crucible, refining essence into gold, turning pain into wisdom. By acknowledging the ego without letting it rule, by melting the persona's mask, by embracing the shadow's garden, by weaving the mirror's opposites, by igniting the power self, and by awakening the higher self, you step into the fullness of your inner star. You become both magician and the phoenix, capable of transmuting pain into wisdom, fragmentation into unity, and vision into reality. My advice to you, a best first step: choose one mask, one shadow, and one symbol each day, and work it gently. Each small act is alchemy. All right, so remember this: your psyche is not a battlefield, it is a universe. Start looking at it that way. Every part of you, even the ones you fear, is a star waiting to be understood. Walk gently with yourself. Curiosity is a doorway, and compassion is key. And every step you take toward understanding yourself is a step toward freedom. So, if this episode resonated with you, give a like, subscribe, and share. And next time we will discuss more of the psyche, and in particular, archetypes of the psyche. Those are fun. And remember, my book, Rise from the Ashes, is available on Amazon in print and ebook. The link will be provided in the description. And until next time, rise from the ashes, my friends, and rise to your truest self. I'll see you next time.